Welcome to Of Sound Mind and Spirit. I'm Shelly.
And I'm Lisa. We're sisters walking together on a journey of faith. We're not perfect.
And we definitely don't have all the answers. We're inviting you to walk with us as we explore ways we can better know and grow in our faith together. Welcome back to another episode from Of Sound Mind and Spirit. Hi, I'm Shelly.
And this is Lisa.
And today we're here to talk about how do you serve God? And that's what we're asking our listeners today, Lisa, is how do you serve God?
Yeah. And I mean, as we talked before we got on here, that's a huge topic. So
yeah, it's a little broad.
That's a little broad. Yeah. I think that we're going to invite the listeners to really, we're going to kind of lead them to discern and think about how do they specifically serve God through their church? Mm-hmm. Do they? Do you? Do we? Do they serve God through their church community, in their church community?
Right. Through our, we would say through our parish, which is
Yes.
our local church. Right. Because you say church is one of those words. It can mean so many different things. we had a little discussion beforehand, y'all, about I said, serve the church. And Lisa said, which one? And I said, well, ours. And anyway, so yes, the church can be the body of Christ. It can be the whole world. But specifically today, we're going to be talking about how we know, grow faith, etc., by service in our parish church, our local community.
Yes. I think our dear listeners are really shocked that we disagreed on verbiage and a word definition. And one or two of us might have cracked open not an actual dictionary, but maybe a online dictionary to see who was right.
You did? Really? You cracked open an online dictionary?
It was called Google, but yes.
That's not an online dictionary.
That's my online dictionary.
You didn't chat GPT and be like, what does the word church really mean?
No, I didn't. But I'll do that next time. Thanks. Yeah, and as you can see, I'm going to apologize now, but like whoever's watching on YouTube, like watching our video, this tells you what a day we've had, that it is afternoon when we're recording because the sun is blinding me. And
I thought your blinds came in. Did they not come in? You didn't get them installed yet?
No, not yet. Soon. So I
told you, get a sheet and painter's tape. Tape it over the window. Serious.
Okay, I'm going to get reported to the Homeowners Association, right?
It's only up for an hour. Hey, listeners, y'all,
true.
Please message and tell her other ways that you can block the sun coming in a full afternoon window for a temporary time.
Yes. I keep hoping that it'll be. Anyway, that's what we were trying to resolve by doing it earlier in the day so I wouldn't be blinded. But it didn't happen today. So we better get a move on before something else interrupts us today. Because it's that kind of day, isn't it? All right, Shelly. Okay. So the first thing I guess we need to think about, discern is why. Why do we serve God? Why do we serve God? Why do we serve God in our church, in our community? I'll let you answer that one. Go. Why?
Well, okay. So it's in the catechism, right? It's kind of the basic thing that God created us, right? Because he wants a relationship with us. And in order to have the happiness of heaven, those of you who are older, you know this Baltimore Catechism, lesson 1 stuff, right? What must we do to gain the happiness of heaven? And those of you who don't know the Baltimore Catechism, just roll with us, okay? The answer is, to gain the happiness of heaven, we must know God, love God, and serve God in this world. And so there's those 3 points, right? And we talked a little bit about knowing God when we talked to our friend Julie last week on 4 ways we can hear God. I think that's what we titled it. Sorry, I don't remember.
4 ways God communicates with you.
Okay, there you go. Thank you. And so I think we talk a lot about loving God, but today we're talking about serving God. And we're, like we said, very specific. So that's the why. It's part of why we were created, to serve. Mm-hmm. Yes, no.
I would agree with that. And I would always say that, what'd you say?
Oh, I was watching you on the video looking that way, and I was like, come on.
I'm looking up something. Don't notice that. That's the problem with video.
Ah.
Don't call me out. Because I had a phrase that I really liked, and I was trying to remember what it was.
Oh,
I would say that serving God. So we've talked about the greatest commandment is to know and love God, but the next one is to love your neighbor as yourself.
to love
right?
God and to love your neighbor as yourself.
With all your heart, with all your, and to love your neighbor as yourself. And so in doing love your neighbor as yourself and to love God, you do that through service. And we can define service if you want to, but it could be something very simple or not. And we're narrowing down to why do we serve specifically in our church community, in our local parish. And I would argue that it's just part of our call as disciples. Like that's what we do to be active participants in our parish, in our faith life. We've talked about our big thing is know and grow in the faith. That one of the things that we do as Christians is we live our lives, we live our faith through our lives, and so that's the way I kind of view it. I'm not as into words like as you are, but that's how I view it. Is that's just part of our call as Christians is to live our faith very actively in our lives, and part of that is through our church community. Is in our church, because as we know, or maybe we don't, but like the church itself, this is Catholic world, our parish isn't the building, right? It's the community of people that come together to worship God as community. And so that I feel like I'm not explaining this very well. Lots of words, basically to say that's just part of our call as Christians is to serve God in our church community.
Well, I like to remind people also that if we don't, then we wouldn't really have a church community to come and be a part of, because it takes everybody. Was it many hands make light work? Mm-hmm. But it takes a lot of people to come together and spend time together and be in community together. And that includes during the worship, the Mass, for non-Christians, you might call it the worship service. But for the Mass.
Non-Catholics.
Right, non-Catholics. What'd I say?
Non-Christians.
Oh, okay. It's afternoon. Give me a break.
I know. I got afternoon brain.
Is it 5:00 yet? This might be one of those episodes where I need a margarita. Okay. Okay. Start over again. For Christians who don't attend a Catholic church, you probably call it service, right? Oh, wait. Okay, never mind.
Well, just jump ahead. I think people know what you're trying to say. If for non-Catholic Christians, who call it a worship service or a church service.
Worship service, that was it. Yes. Yeah. So anyway, my point being that if you just go once in a while, you don't get to know your community. But if you go and you participate, if you go and do, and they don't have to be great big things, but there's lots of little ways that you can go that people need your participation, and your participation is an act of service. Doesn't have to be big, it can be small.
Yeah. Participate in the life of the church.
There you go. That's a very nice. Did you lift that from somewhere?
I did.
Oh, beautiful. I really like
a Catholic church's website. I don't know where they're located. So California. They're in California. But I was reading earlier, and I really liked that, to participate in the life of the church, because we believe that our church is alive. The church community is alive. And so to participate, not just serving out there, because I think a lot of us, when we say serve, we think of out there, serving the poor, serving the needy, serving like
and that's another podcast topic.
Things like that. Again, it's a different podcast topic than this. So we're talking about serving within our church. And I think that it's not talked about a ton, because I think people think of it as, volunteer, that word, like volunteer. But I think it's a greater calling than just volunteering.
Yeah. And I like the way you say that, a calling, Lisa, because I think a lot of people I know who have gotten involved volunteering, I'm serving, haha, you got that word in my head, serving in the church, they didn't used to do it, but then they felt like they needed to be there. And that's that calling. That's God inviting us to come
Mm-hmm.
and
Mm-hmm.
be in community and get to know him through these acts of service.
Mm-hmm.
So, and we
And
have talked,
okay.
oh, I was going to say, we have talked very, very briefly
Mm-hmm.
about service to the church. And that was a long time ago because that was way back in episode 20,
20.
Proclaim the Word with Paula Perry.
Yes, our
And
dear friend
so
Paula.
if you'd like to know more about the proclaimers, the people who get up at the church and lecture and read the readings, you can go back to episode 20 and listen to that. But that's
Not until
the only
after
time I'm
this
going to
one's
mention
over.
it. Yeah. Okay.
I think that this dovetails nicely with our last, I would say, month or two. I can't remember how many episodes it's been now, but we really have, you and I have been working together to kind of call back to our original mission and purpose in starting the podcast, which was ways to know and grow in our faith and to kind of help fellow, mostly women, though we do have men who listen,
Hi,
find
honey.
ways to yeah,
My
to
husband.
grow in faith and to grow closer in relationship with Christ. And so I find that one of the reasons we're talking about this, I find that serving in the parish, serving our church community really helps grow my connection to Jesus.
Mm-hmm.
It helps me, gosh, and I guess that's a whole nother like dive into what type of service and what type of connection it develops because there's so many. But no matter what, and I am a joiner and I am a volunteer person, all the different roles that I've done, all of them have helped me grow closer to Christ. In some in ways I expected and some in ways I didn't. So that's kind of one of the big reasons we want to put it out there. It's not just volunteering, at least in our minds.
Well, Lisa, what does service in the church look like for you? Briefly. I don't need
you don't want a whole resume
curriculum vitae here. Yeah.
of all of it. Okay. So when I was a teenager, it was even things like I taught a faith formation class. I served dinner to a group of priests who were visiting our parish. Just little things like that. And then as I became an adult and, grew in my relationship with my different parishes, every little thing. I have run VBS, Vacation Bible School. I've done faith formation classes, which we have talked about. I, worked on the website and social media for the parish, volunteered to stuff envelopes. I mean, I've even washed tablecloths. Like, I'm trying to think of varied things, it's a little bit of everything. Even when I hate cooking, and everybody who knows me in person and probably most people online who know me know that I don't like to cook because I've talked about it incessantly.
It's not a secret.
It's not a secret, and you're not going to offend. Well, you might offend me, but I mean, like,
We'll offend her.
it's okay when I say it. Don't everyone else say it. Okay, that I'm not good at it. I didn't say I wasn't good at it. I said I don't like it. Anyway. So I'm not very good at it either. But anyway, that's not the point. I have volunteered. I have served my parish. Shelly's laughing. You got to be watching this on YouTube, guys. She can't speak. I have volunteered, served my parish by preparing soup for soup and stations, even though it is not something that I would normally ever want to do. But I really felt called to help out because I really believe in the event, the mission of people coming together for Stations of the Cross during Lent and joining in a communal meal.
Okay, now I just want to point out that we haven't even begun to touch her actual resume. Service in the church. Okay, so that's why I was telling her, you gotta summarize this and bring it down. And she's like on page 2 already. So.
Well, I don't know. Where did you want me to start, Shell?
I don't know. I was
just tell
curious.
me, where was I supposed to go with that?
When you did that, I was like, oh my gosh, I forgot she did start VBS at the church. Oh my gosh. I forgot she did that too. Oh, I think she started that one too.
I
Okay.
started Bunko, the women's group, and then
No, no, no,
women's
no, no. You don't have
retreat.
to go in. We are
So
already
many
like,
things, so little time.
okay.
Yeah. Go ahead.
Well, gosh, I was going to say the earliest service I can remember at the church is something like we got invited to take the gifts up in the middle of mass.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, it's something that's simple. It was just
Yes.
kind of they caught us walking in and said, would your family like to bring the gifts up at mass? And we were like, I guess so.
Yeah.
What
do
do
we
we
have to
need to
do?
do? And they were like, well, at this point you come back and then we'll meet you and we'll give you the wine and the bread and the basket with the money, and you walk them up and you hand them to the priest and he hands them to the altar servers, and then he'll look at you and you bow and then you go sit down. And we're like, okay, we can do that. That's easy.
That's
We can
doable.
do that.
And we're already here.
Yeah. And then another thing that came to mind that's a simple act of service is the wish upon a star. I don't know if other parishes have this, if other churches have this,
I'm
but
sure
this
they
is where
call it just something else.
yeah, this is where they have the little cutout stars that are strung with yarn on like an ornament. And on it is usually a label, or it used to be handwritten, but now I think it's a label that says, buy a gift for a 6-year-old girl who likes Barbies. And so
Yeah, so
you,
buying
we
Christmas
used to,
presents.
right, a Christmas present. And so we used to let our girls when they were little, and then later our son as he was younger, go and pick a star off the tree. And of course, they always look for someone their own age, a girl
Yeah.
my age.
Yeah.
And we'd pick up something for a grandmother, or, slippers, a robe, something easy, and then bring it back. And that counts as service
Yes.
because
Yes.
we're supporting our parish in a mission opportunity with them. And we're doing it in community, and we don't know who it benefits. So it's a wonderful way to teach our children that this is how we give back. This is how we participate.
This is how we
without
live our faith.
it being big. Right.
Yeah. In small ways. I used to use that as an example when my kids were little, because I didn't do as much, obviously when my kids were super little. But we used to have a program at the parish of taking meals to people who'd had surgery, or maybe had just had a baby. It was more surgery and elderly and people who couldn't get out of the house. And I used to talk to my kids about it, not just that we were doing it because someone was sick or whatever, but talking to them, and I don't mean lecturing, but like introducing the idea to them that we do this not because we're good people. Like, I'm not doing it because I'm a good person, air quotes. I'm doing it because it's part of my faith. It's part of what I believe, that it is for me to help and support and, be a light of God's love to other people in our midst. And so I really tried to do that from a young age with them. And one day when they're probably 35, they'll be like, Mom, I remember that. But now they're young adults. They don't notice.
No. And it is an essential part of our faith. Just to pop that back in there, it is essential. So
I think it's living, like I said, living that vocation, right?
Yeah. And it's actually biblical too, Lisa.
You're going to give us scripture?
Do you want me to throw in a scripture verse here for you?
Yes, please.
Okay.
Yes.
So this one comes from 1 Peter chapter 4, verse 10. As each one has received a gift, use it to serve one another as good stewards of God's varied grace. Because, serving the church is a way we can demonstrate God's grace and love to those around us. And when we faithfully use our gifts, when we bring them in service to our church and the people of our church, our parish church, we not only bless others, but we fulfill our personal vocation to bring glory to God. So I thought that was really sweet.
That is. That's really nice. So what is there a qualification because of what is service or what constitutes service? Like, is there a bar that you have to meet to make it, I'm going to say count? I only ask this because
good question.
One, I've already said I am we all know that I'm an extrovert, that I I am like,
You're a joiner, you're a leader, blah, blah.
yeah,
If you see
like
a need,
overly
you
involved.
jump in and you try to solve it. I
Yes.
know.
Yes. However, the other thing we've been talking about a lot on the podcast is my be still and know era. And so over the last couple of years, I have stopped doing. I've stopped. I thought I stopped every opportunity with my parish, but you reminded me I'm still have my book group. So I'm still active in my book group. But
Well,
I
let's
have
be
been
realistic.
in a,
You slowed down.
I slept, well, no, I have prevented myself from joining anything new. I got rid of most
Yes,
of the
that's
old,
what I
and
mean.
I've
You
not done anything
slowed
new.
down.
And for me, that was just a part of the season of life that I'm in and I've been in. And I feel like I'm coming out of that, but I'm trying to be very intentional about how I go forward instead of overdoing it like I have. So I'm asking that question not only for me, because I am slowly, since I've moved, I'm slowly shifting to a new parish and they have lots of opportunities. But also I've already signed up for one.
Of course
But
you have.
it's bringing dinner to the priest on a Sunday. So
Oh, that's
not a
sweet.
big deal. And you leave it. You don't talk to anybody. You take it to the rectory.
Yeah.
So, but I know there's a lot of people, we're not alone. And there's a lot of women, especially women, we're busy. And we can talk about whether or not that busy is good later. That's a whole nother topic. All the busy. But we are, let's just face it. This is how our society is right now and how a lot of us find ourselves, whether we work, whether we stay home, whether we have littles, whether we have grown kids. It's something about the way we live our lives. And some of us just either find ourselves in a space where we can't do all the things or we don't want to. Mm-hmm. So you and I talked about this is not a podcast about doing all the things.
Mm-hmm.
If you talked to me 5 years
about what we do either.
No. And if you talked to me 5 years ago, I would have been like, you need to do this, you need to do that. And I think that's one of the reasons God has kind of called me to like calm it down.
And this is calm for her, y'all.
Calm it down. Yeah. So anyway, so what constitutes service? Do you have to start a new ministry?
No, you don't have to start a new ministry. There are lots of ministries at your parish, I'm sure, that would love to have a new face and a new helping set of hands, or even prayer. So, to pray for them, to pray for others. So I can see her thinking.
I was going to say you said that, and I'm like, okay, listeners.
Oh, she's going to start a new one. Watch.
Stay tuned. Stay tuned because we have an episode coming up.
Oh,
that's about praying for others. So
that's true.
We have two different ones about praying for others. So we've already recorded them. They're amazing. Anyway, go ahead.
Yeah, we'll just hold on to those. The holidays are coming. You have lots of time to listen. Okay.
Yes.
And what were we talking about?
We were talking about not needing to go over the top. Don't do the usual Lisa.
Okay. So if you're not Lisa and you're a little more sedate and you're sitting here listening, just kind of going, oh, wow, she's got more energy than I could.
Or overwhelmed. We do get overwhelmed at times.
Yeah.
So I like that you and I talked about it. Oh, go ahead.
Oh, tell me what it was we talked about. I
wasn't looking at you, so I couldn't see that you were trying to get my attention. Well, you and I talked about what constitutes service, and we talked about picking up the star on the tree, or maybe I know it's about to be Thanksgiving, and there's a lot of places where you can supply the ingredients to a Thanksgiving dinner, like things that don't involve, going an extra hour every week to the church. You don't have to do like join the church choir, No,
if you feel called, they'd love to have you, I'm sure.
Of course. So. They don't ask me. Just
no, they don't.
They don't.
Sorry. But you said an extra hour. Do you know going to adoration is considered service?
Oh, I hadn't thought about that.
Going to adoration would be service. Going to mass every Sunday is serving God because we're worshiping him and we are being in his presence.
Mm-hmm.
And when we do sing with our voices, we are singing his glory and his praises. Yes, some of the songs may not be as sorry, I was just thinking of some of the songs we've sung in the past at different churches. It just made me fun. But I found this beautiful quote from Saint Jane Frances de Chantal, and she said, "Hold your eyes on God and leave the doing to him. That is all the doing you have to worry about." So if you're in the stage of life where you are working full time, you are raising children, you are volunteering outside the church, or just doing your very level best to get it all done and come home at the end of the day and throw a load of laundry in and rest. If you go to mass on Sunday, if you go to church, that might be what he's just calling you to do, is to just come and rest at his feet. Come and sit and listen to his word and sing the Alleluia and listen and participate in receiving Christ. And that's enough. So I know we're sitting here talking about service and ways we can be a joiner and do all the things, but it is enough to just go and be present with God.
Mm-hmm.
And we talked
like
about
that.
that yesterday. We were like, is that service or not? And so,
Yeah,
yes.
we went back and forth on it.
We did. I had to look it up.
Yeah.
Sorry. I know you said we don't always have all the answers, but I wanted to know the answer to that question before we recorded.
I appreciate that. Well, and like I said, because I have always been a joiner and like a get her done person. And right now I'm not doing all those things. And so sometimes I do feel bad. I feel like I'm not using my gifts and talents that he has given me to build up his church. Right. And we are, why are you laughing? God gives us these gifts and talents.
Your favorite.
Hold, please. God gives us these gifts and talents not to use for ourselves, but to use for others in his name. And so there are times when I feel I need to sit this one out. I need to, like I said, be still and savor, like Julie was talking about last week, like really listening for him and what he wants for me to do. But at the same time, there's another part of me that's like, he wouldn't have given me this if he doesn't want me out there using it. So I appreciate what you're saying, that sometimes it's enough to go and worship and go and sit at his feet and pray for others. And that can be enough.
Yeah. And this one's going to be a little bit of outside the serving at your parish, but it is Mother Teresa, Saint Teresa of Calcutta. Yeah. And she wrote, "How do you know, love, and serve God? How do you prove that you love him? In the family. In the family. The father proves his love by all he does for his children and for his wife. We prove our love for Jesus by what we do and by who we are." And that just always touches my heart to remember that we do all of these things with love, then we are serving God. And through that service, we come to know him because God is love. See episode 1. So,
yes. I don't know. And I would also say episode 64, Know and Grow in Faith, because we did talk about that.
It's true. We did talk about that.
Know God. Yeah.
Yeah.
I appreciate that. I also there's a part of me that's like, oh, darn, is there an easier way? Because sometimes loving and serving your family and those closest to you can be the hardest thing that you do. And sometimes it's easier, I'm just going to be honest, it's easier to go out there and go serve the people at your parish or go serve the people in your community than it is to serve lovingly the people in your house.
Sorry, I didn't mean to.
Are you disagreeing with me, Shelly?
No, it was how spot on you are at times. You know, that's just, I bet there's a lot of people being like, well, what are you talking? Anyway, okay. I'm not going to go there.
I know. I know. That's
Oh my God.
I definitely, there's a whole lot of, like I said, this whole be still thing. We're gonna have to do a whole episode on that at some point when I'm ready. But there's a
It's getting
lot
close.
of things that you learn about what God wants you to do, and go back and listen to last week's Julie episode. God communicating with you. There's just a lot of things, and so I'm waiting to see what happens next.
Yeah.
Maybe I'll be the joiner again and doing all the things.
Oh, maybe you'll be a little more discerning about it also, because if you're going where I think you're going, there are a really, really large number of ministries you could get involved in. And even knowing that, let's say random number, let's say they have 100 different things you could participate with, right? And serve
You
with.
mean each week?
Yeah, I will I will bet you lunch that you can find something they don't have yet and feel called to start it. Can y'all see her face there?
Yeah,
Go.
I know. That is my bread and butter, isn't it?
Yes, it is. It's not your bread and butter. Let's put it this way. It is a charism.
Yeah.
It is a calling and a gift that God has given to you to be able to see and recognize and motivate others to participate with you. So, because I wouldn't even be on this podcast if it wasn't for you and that charism of yours, and that sister thing.
Sister thing.
Yeah. Anyway.
Yeah. Oh,
So, but yes, it is a
love
gift.
it.
I've told you that many times. So
I appreciate that.
yeah.
I guess one of the takeaways, I'm trying to bring us back up,
away
away from us and back to our listeners here. A lot of us feel like volunteer, the word volunteer, or as you might have heard, being voluntold to do something.
I was just thinking the same word. That's so funny.
But you hear the word service and you're like, what is that? That's volunteering, which I do out of an obligation. I do because we can call it Catholic guilt. We can call it, obligation. Like I have to do it. Otherwise it won't exist, or this or that.
Because they need to put check boxes.
Well, I'll say our teens are overloaded with this because everything they do is they're told they have to get volunteer hours, whether it's an honor society or math club or confirmation or anything else. It's not about doing it because you're called to do it. It's doing it because you have to. And so I think that's one of our intentions of this is that's not like, get rid of that.
Yeah. We serve out of love.
Do it because you're checking a box. You do it because it's a way for you to live your faith in your parish, in your community, out of love, that God created you out of love, and he wants you to serve out of love.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Yeah. And I will say this, though, about the checklist and the volunteering. When it comes to our young people, if you serve, they will want to serve. It may not come out right away. Mm-hmm. For example, I've been serving as a lector for many years. My oldest served as an altar server. My second child, no way, no how would she do something like that. But for confirmation, I remember they would tell the students, listen, your service doesn't have to be that big. You can pass the baskets on the side of the church. You can do things for your parents. You can clean your room. You remember they were telling them ways that you could serve your family, and it would count. But if you do these things, not only will you grow in community, will you grow in love with God, will you have a relationship, but you'll also be passing this on by your actions to your family, and it will inspire them. Don't be pushy. Don't be like, you have to do this, because telling my now 13-year-old son that I want him to be an altar server for the last 5 years has not gotten him anywhere near the training classes.
That's not work for you, huh?
No, not at all.
Pray for it.
No. But the other day, they needed someone to collect the baskets on the side, to pass the tithing baskets. And they asked me to do it. And I said, oh, of course, whatever you need, I'm happy to do it. Because I have long learned not to say no when God calls you. And then you sit down and you sing that song, "Here I am, Lord, I come to do your will." And you're like, but I already told her no. Okay. So No, I said, yes, of course, I'll be happy to help you. My son is the one who was like, can I do it? Well, wait, what? I wasn't
Oh, that's
asking you to do
awesome.
it.
Yeah.
I want to do that. Can I do it? Absolutely, you can do it, son. There's the basket. There's the time. Go. So, you
I love
just
that.
never know how it's going to bless. So.
I love that. As you say that about just because someone asks you does not mean that's God's will for you. I'm just saying.
Oh, it was that day. I'm sorry. That's a whole nother story, but yeah.
Well, I was going to say, as a yes person as I am, a people pleaser, volunteer, yay, I routinely would say no. There are certain things that I always say no to, and they were almost always, until I had to, volunteering during Mass. I've never been an usher. I've never been a lector. I've never, what else is there? Eucharistic minister. I've never sung in the choir. Like that for me, because the way I drew a line in the sand years and years ago that I do so much outside of Mass for the church and for the community that I wanted to, Mass was my time to be fully present. And so that's where I drew the line. But my kids, I had an altar server, I had a cantor, I've had an usher, like my kids have all volunteered, but just for me. So that was, and that's, I would say, even those of us who are yes people, sometimes we draw a line and say, and I just want to say, it's okay. Do you know how many times I got asked, are you a Eucharist minister? Nope. We can train you real fast. You sure? We need one. There's no one else here. Nope. No. The answer is no. Yep. And I didn't do it. And you know what? Someone else did it.
Yeah.
So I'm just saying, sometimes you say no, and your service doesn't have to be all the things. Mm-hmm. I know that seems strange coming out of my mouth.
Yes. So, okay.
I'm just saying, even I have limits.
Wrapping this up. We're hitting it. Okay.
I had an idea.
You had an idea?
Yes. We've been doing a lot of interviews lately, which are coming people. Do you have a sister story? We ask all our guests, Shelly.
Do I have a sister story? At the moment, I don't have one you want me to tell on this. I don't know. You can't spring that on me. We prep our guests before they... So
we let them know. I know. I was going to say, I have a sister story.
Okay. Tell me your sister story.
Okay. So, wait, I'm trying to think of which one. Hold on. Hold, please. Yes. So...
Now I'm worried.
So, I was going to say last week, and this is not a shock to anyone. I'm not saying anything we haven't posted about. Last week, we went shopping together at a Christmas market. And
yes,
it's so funny that we've done this several times, and we just have such fun.
That was my third.
I think, is that our third time to do that?
That's only my third.
We don't shop for the same things. We don't shop in the same way. We don't have the same taste in almost anything, right?
Right.
But we have so much fun going and just enjoying it. And I don't know, it's just such an enjoyable day. And I love that we have different interests and different, I don't know, all the things. And yet we still can find ways to have fun together and to laugh. And, at least I didn't try anything really silly this time. Yeah.
You did?
I don't think I did.
No, I don't think you did either.
But we had a good time. And then we rushed back here really quickly and recorded an interview for the podcast.
Yes, we did. Which will soon be released.
It will soon be released. Yes. Well, that was my sister's story. You find little ways to get together and have fun. So not just doing this podcast.
You can ask me my saint if you want.
Okay. Who is your go-to saint? Who is stalking you at the current moment?
At the current moment, I would have to say right now, my brain's on, hang on, today. My current moment is today, right now. It's got to be Mother Cabrini. It's St. Frances Cabrini. I'm sorry. Today is her feast day. We're recording this on her feast day. And it's just brought up all the warm and fuzzies, because I'm still working on that project with Mom. And Mother Cabrini was active. Her Sisters of the Sacred Heart, I can't remember, the Sisters of Mercy of the Sacred Heart of Jesus. They were actively working with Italian immigrants that came in New York, in New Orleans, and our family did, and they were from Italy. And she must have been of great importance to them because we found her prayer card. We found a photo of her. We have Sacred Heart of Jesus pictures that have been in the family. And today I've just been thinking of her and her unshakable faith. I've forgotten there's a specific word that goes in front of that, but it is unbelievable faith that she had to be able to do the things God called her to do and not think about the means or the consequences. She just plowed straight ahead. And so she's been on my mind today.
Speaking of service.
Oh, it's true.
I like how you unintentionally brought that all the way back around.
Unintentionally, I did. Yes.
I love that. Absolutely love
Thank
that.
you, Mother Cabrini. Little inspiration there.
Have we talked about her in a podcast? I can't remember. I feel like we have.
We talked about her on the pilgrimage, like making your summer travel a pilgrimage. Don't ask me which episode it was. It's early. It's like number 4 or 5 or something like that. But because I went and visited the shrine in Colorado.
That's what it was. Yeah, I am looking it up. I know. I'm like, where was summer? Let me look at summer on my list.
So anyway.
Is it Shrines, Saints, and Summer Break? 54?
Yes.
Oh, we also
54?
have, not Relics, not the Relics one, right?
No, it's all the way back to like episode 5.
Finding Faith on Vacation, episode 4. You're good.
4. Okay. Wow. I knew it was early. Because I tried to put that one out right before the summer.
It just dawned on me since we've been doing a lot of interviews, like we ask them these questions, and I thought it might be kind of fun if we asked ourselves these questions, each other, some of these questions. I mean, why not? I'll try to think of a better sister story next time. Like the time you stuck my arm you buried my arm in the snow, and I was crying, and don't say it didn't happen because there's a picture.
I was about to say the only reason I know that that exists is because there's a picture, and I'm like 5 or 6, and you're like 2 or 3.
Yep.
Don't tell me you remember that.
You did it. No, but there's a picture.
Oh, well, thank goodness Mom had to use the film camera to document our first experience. No,
she got it developed. Yeah. So, all right. Okay.
All right.
Have we
anything else?
Maybe, I don't know. I feel like, should we record in the afternoons more or less? Listeners, I think you need to let us know.
I think we're a little looser with the topic in the conversation.
I think so. I think it's been a day, and obviously if today's St. Francis Cabrini's feast day, then you know when we're recording this, and
well, trivia. Go look it up.
Well, I was going to say, and when it's going to be released, and you'll see how tight a schedule we're running at the moment.
Yeah.
So if you're listening on Thursday, today's the day before.
Okay, so I want to reiterate our takeaway. If you're still listening,
bring us back around.
Our takeaway for today is that serving in your parish is a great way to know and grow in your faith and your community. And what we hope is that this interview inspires you to define what service means to you, where you are in your life today, and what small or big ways you can consider serving your parish family. And just remember that we're serving God out of love. And that's all I got today. Sorry.
I love this. Thank you. This has gone in a different direction, I think, than we originally kind of planned out. But I really feel that it is the direction that the Holy Spirit wanted, because maybe I hope and pray that our listeners glean something from this that was really important for them and inspirational. But I'm going to say, I think I was a person who needed to hear and talk through this today. So I thank you.
Good. All right. Well, go ahead, do your share, subscribe, YouTube thing that you do so well that I can't do. Okay. I've tried. Believe me, we've cut more of that out.
thank you, dear listeners, for being with us today. We so appreciate you being here. And this is an episode that if you, hearts, are we doing like the kids do it? I can't do that. She's making little heart signs at me. If this is an episode that if you are listening audio only, you might want to hop on over to YouTube. Go find our YouTube channel, Sound, Mind, and Spirit, and listen and watch there because, like I said, she's saying, hi, Mom. Like, we're a little looser today, and I enjoy it. And I think you'll enjoy, if you want to watch one, this is the one to go watch. But as always, we hope that you enjoyed this, and we hope that if you're not a subscriber, welcome. And we hope that you will go subscribe and leave us a comment. The holidays if you're listening to this when it comes out, the holidays are coming up. Yeah, that's how we all feel about that stress. So let us know how you are approaching the holiday season. And if you're listening to this some other time of year, did me just bringing up the holidays give you stress? Let us know.
Yes. Oh,
yes.
So I was mentally going, wait, we've got one more week. Then there's Thanksgiving. Then there's Christ the King. Then Advent starts. Wait. I can't.
Deep breath. Exactly. Okay. All right, Shelly. Thank you for
a fun afternoon.
Yes, putting up with me and all my distractions and interruptions today. I really appreciate you sticking it out. I know.
Literally the dog, squirrel. Okay.
Yeah. Well, he's been quiet.
That was the second try we did.
No, I know. This is not the first time we've tried to record. Okay.
All right.
On that note, we
Bye, y'all.
Bye.